People gather far and wide for this one day. Harvests are put on hold, education, training. Everybody, everywhere knows that today is the day of wishes. But more specifically, it's the day of the wish. That one chosen individual from hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, maybe, based on your setting, gets a wish today. But what is the wish? Is there a real wish? How are they chosen? Is this a competition? Or is someone chosen because of their moral fortitude, their ethical um, boundaries? Maybe it's because of the things that they've done leading up to this day of the wish. Today, we're going to talk about it on this live podcast. Guys, join me in just a moment. Well, hello, creatives, community, and kind folks. Welcome to RPG with DBJ. I am your host, and all of you who are here live are our co-hosts, and anyone else who sees the show, loves this series and the day of, please comment below and give some prompts too. This isn't just from me. This is for you guys too. So if you come up with any one word or simple phrases that seemingly elicit a great amount of creativity, please leave them below, drop them in other comments, respond, and that kind of thing. So let's get into the day of the wish. Yeah, Drew's like, it's time for vicious wishes. Vicious wishes. Okay, so we're, I was, to give you a little background, sometimes when I do these thumbnails and come up with some of these ideas and prompts, I I like to leave a lot of space, and I was a little distraught, kind of confusing myself in how to word this. Should it be the day of wishes or the day of the wish? And I think the day of the wish kind of focuses us down into a time frame, right? Apparently, on the day of the wish, it's there's one opportunity, and this one opportunity might be limited to one individual. And I like this because not only do we have a not only do we have a focus of intent, but we also have a focus of time, because at the end of the day, someone's going to get something. And who is that person going to be? Now, this very much could be a competition. Very easy to set up a competition for strength and endurance, for speed and agility and balance. Maybe this competition deals with knowledge and education, exposure to the arts and sciences. Maybe the same individual is challenged on their um, their faith, their morality, their understanding of the world, their ability to notice and perceive things. Maybe even tested. Maybe even the test itself has a failure mechanic in it, where how does the person act or react based on the failures that they're given to them. In other words, the test isn't the test itself. The test is their reactions to the test. Maybe it could be public speaking and such, as I'm describing this, I'm going through the classic six statistics in D20 games. But it could be a competition of sorts where people compete, maybe including everything from having colored jerseys and numbers, or what have you, or people presented forth by family, faction, or region. But this might be something a little deeper. Maybe on the day of the wish, maybe not that many people know or are aware of the day of the wish. Maybe they don't. They are. They are unaware of its power and only a limited number of people. And is this a real wish in the first place? It's not necessarily. It doesn't necessarily need to be a wish. Um, there's a classic monster known as the invisible stalker that is often summoned. Uh, it uh, Lore says that it comes from the plane of air. I always thought that it would be funky for it to be a creature that is invisible, but it is a creature that represents the fear of the person going after it. But maybe the wish is someone wants something or needs something, and a horrible monster goes out there and destroys other individuals to get it, to give it to that individual. So it doesn't necessarily be, yeah. Yeah, it's the day of the game breaker. And who's to say there weren't other winners from past years? Maybe the world itself has been transformed. It's got strange, arcane, um, uh, physical representations of past wishes in this world. Like maybe somebody in the past wished for all the money in the world, and a generation ago, that mountain range made out of solid gold and copper and silver and such. Maybe the reason that it's there is because the person who wished for all the money in the world got buried underneath, a mountainside full of gold and riches or something. Or maybe there's a reason why the children that live in the valley are best friends with dinosaurs or something, and big fluffy furry animals, whatever, because they wished for it. And yeah, Drew's like, I wish the wish spell does not exist. Yeah. Now, again, like I said, this doesn't need, just because people say a thing doesn't mean it's the real thing. This is a very common thing to do when it comes to re repurposing, reskinning, re contextualizing something. What the population calls a wish doesn't need to be a wish at all. It could be just a powerful. It could be a powerful spell. It could be the services of a powerful entity. It could be simply a wizard's council that wants to give back to the community. They could be doing this for good reasons, or maybe it's an extremely neutral fey court that is having fun with the population. That's like, what would people really want, and what how let's have fun in changing the environment itself. So those floating islands, or that river that flows backwards, or that population of humanity that seems to have blue skin and is, I mean, we don't know what the end result of a wish was, and we don't right now. We can discuss, like, what are the ramifications of having this wish on this day. How is someone chosen? uh yeah. Drew says that in the old L5R storyline, there have been tournaments to win a favor one can ask the emperor. And that's kind of like where I'm heading, right? Like, maybe there's when I say powerful entity, it could be nobles, king, emperors, khans, or something. And there could be a tournament that asks, an individual is challenged physically and mentally and socially and such, to say, to win the favor of this person who may be judging them all the way up to and including the wish that they ask for. Right? And I mean, to consider the wishes that people have, like, for example, someone could just very much just wish for a family member to live. Or this could be extremely dark. This could have a very dark turn to it, that the population doesn't know about. And if it has a really dark turn to it, ooh. Yeah. The member of the squad says, what kind of stipulations do you have to impose so your players can't ruin everything with a wish? No wishing level ups for starters. Yeah. Listen, there. Well, one out of game method is to have someone write down the wish, and it's got to be one line, and you read the wish verbatim. So if someone were to write down, I wish I had all the money in the world, all the money literally would disappear out the world and be given to this individual. And like I said, they could be buried in hundreds of thousands of tons of gold and riches, and then the rest of society would have to come up with a new method of economic value, that kind of thing. But someone wishes they were perfect. I mean, would that increase all? Would that break the game and make all their statistics 18 in a D20 game or something? I don't know. Uh, but and players love to use and abuse things, but that doesn't mean the rest of the population won't use and abuse this kind of a opportunity as well. You know, human beings are notorious for wanting things they can't have, and if they can bring about their dreams, oh man. And it doesn't have to be money, right? It can be physical perfection, or wish they were in a different place, or wish they were themselves an emperor, lord of the realm or something, or a great warrior or whatever. Drew, I mean, more I use the spell as player in game to remove it from everybody else. Yeah. Drew says, the fairy queen or the demon lord. Yeah, I mean, the person that's giving this wish doesn't need to be good. It could literally be like a demon lord that's like, wonder, well, every year, let's come upon this place and see what happens. Now, a fairy queen would have some fun probably with it. The chaos of it, of the wish itself, taking it literally would be more of a fun thing where fake creatures can just go back home and spend a year gazing upon their good works as the world unravels itself. A demon lord or a devil or something like that would most assuredly want to. The wish itself may be a draw to find the easiest people to corrupt, and that may be thing as well. Um, Shai says, getting a wish from the king is so much better than a magical wish. This ultra powerful do anything magic is BS anyway. Yeah, it can be a little bit like that. Might be the dangling. That's your call to action, right? Like, I mean, listen, think about it. If you called it the day of the wish, your players are going to run. I mean, they're going to run to figure out how to like circumvent the rules to get it for themselves, and they might even murder kill all the other people so they can get the wish. It, especially if you set before them, you set the table for little injured Jimmy over here is just wants to have their family fed or whatever, right? And then you have another person that's like, I just wish I had a nice, great meal for today. And the PCs are like, that's not what you wish for. So in many ways, like you're saying there, it could just be a favor. The day of the wish could literally just be a favor from the nobility. Like there might not be any magic at all. It's one person gets to come up and ask for what they want from a mortal being, and that mortal being grants it to them. And that wish could be a grand law is passed instantly. It could be an elevation of status. It could be a peace between another kingdom, even though they've been at war, right? It could be something that transforms the population, and we haven't established the cost, because on the day of the wish, that cost might be your life. I mean, imagine you can get any wish fulfilled, but you never get to see the end result of that wish. Wonder what if people would do that. I think there would be people to do that, but they would be of a different caliber. Oh, Drew is talking about money. Have you watched the video about the barter down? No, it's in my feed too. It literally is in my feed. Yes, about the uh the fallacy of the barter system. Oh, man, okay. I'm gonna listen to it today. It's in my feed. Thank you very much. Just have to play. the a-hole wish granter that twists every wish the players make. If it's over the top, hell yeah. Oh, that's the fun part, right? I wish I were the emperor. Exactly, right. Sometimes be careful what you wish for is a very common trope, right? It says, okay, you are now being attacked in your sleep by assassins as the empire is now in flames. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe the emperor was the last wish grantee, and when someone says they wish they were the emperor's like, woo, and they switch mental places. Great, you're now the emperor, and I'm in your body, and I get to have some freedom. Yeah. Yeah, what if the wish is some kind of test by God to see what a selfish a-hole you are? I like that idea too. I really like that idea. That maybe, just maybe, like maybe this is just a way for um this is the ultimate test to like to draw out those individuals that are terrible for the community. These are people who, like, you don't want those people having um you don't want any of these people to have a wish at all, and we gotta figure out a way to get these individuals together so we can kind of eliminate them and find out who they are and what they're about. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, just ask those who get knighted in England how much of a cross to bear it is. Unlike even a simple Purple Heart that at least gets you free air travel for life. Yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, there might be the 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 grantee of the wish in and of its of themselves could almost be destroyed by everyone else, especially as the day goes on the day of the wish. What if the population is starting to like find out who they think has the greatest favor, and other people start to tear them down? I mean, in real life, um as let's say a coworker is showing great promise in their job and might be getting, there's a single promotion and there's 6 employees for it, and they start like politicians, right? They start pointing at each other. That person sucks, they're a liar, they're a thief, they're ugly, and maybe the worst of humanity starts coming out when the attention of the Council of Seven starts looking at the the few that might be recipients of this wish, and as they start to narrow down their focus to a few dozen, and now there's about 10 of them, and now there's like 5, and then and the other people were just like, well, in the past this person did this other thing, and people start lying and cheating, and maybe there's assassinations and backstabbing and things like that. So yeah, I mean, there's many things, and maybe even the people who are deserving of the wish start getting treated so badly they just step out of it. As people lie about their um, their past to try to cast those individuals in a bad light to exclude them from the game. I mean, that's what those reality competition shows are about essentially, right? I mean, we don't call it a wish, but the day of the wish could be winning the competition. And what happens? People start uh, gathering together to take down the person who's the most likely to receive a thing. And what a great what a great way to manipulate the player characters, especially if the player characters cannot get an access to the wish. Maybe they don't belong to this community, but they could influence who gets the wish to try to finagle to twist things so that the wish falls in the player character's favor. That would be a very social um scrambling for your player characters to like try to convince someone or something or whatever that to get the wish to kind of benefit them as well. Thus, you only benefit from the wish, yeah, if you already possess the most powerful treasure, wisdom, which in some ways might be the criteria in and of itself that the person who doesn't want the wish gets it. Especially if at the end of the day that person gets to wish and everyone forgets what happened. The world has just changed and everyone moves on, and the only people that remember are the player characters. And or what happened? Hey, how come? What happened to old man Whitaker who made that wish last year so that his farm would, produce the greatest crops or something? And everyone's looking around like, I don't remember the farm or Whitaker or whatever. Um, yeah, TA says, like people who plant trees knowing they will never benefit from its shade or fruit, uh, but do it for their children. Now, if the day of the wish, like I said, is something that the person who wishes for it never gets to see it, I think that changes it, especially for player characters. Although you could have a player that wants to retire their character, and it's kind of like their way out, like a I don't know, a paladin that's been fighting a great evil for a long time. And that paladin has, can compete on the day of the wish to finally eradicate this great evil, but they'll never get to see the evil eradicated on the day of the wish if they are able to get it. I think that would be very interesting. So everyone in the land, if you get tired and wiping your head, saying, "Man, I wish," suddenly everyone goes pale and they start waving their hands, mouthing, "No, no, no, yeah, yeah." On this day, yeah, yeah. Be careful what you say. Like, so everyone in the land, if you get tired, you wiping your head, you're like, "Man, oh," you got people out in the fields and whatnot, and they're building barns and whatever, digging ditches, and they're like, "Man, I really wish." Man, I wish it everyone's like, "Shh, shut up." People getting tackled on the ground and mouths covered. Don't say it. Yeah, but I could make the wish. No. Heck, you could even have a literary vibe to this, that there are literally people trying to write down the perfectly worded wish. 5 pages later, run-on sentence. I wish that blah, 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 comma, blah, blah, blah. Oh, man. It'd be like political speech writing, where you have just a room of writers trying to write a thing down to word the perfect wish. Mm-mm-mm. Another option is the wish is a trick that someone falling for it sees the wish being granted, but the rest of their party just see them sitting on the ground drooling on themselves. Like I said, as Drew mentioned, of the fairy queen, the demon lord that's like, yeah, yeah, I'm gonna go after the one person. Let's see if we could corrupt the one person who like uh somehow attains the wish, and then they get the wish, and in their head they're like, wow, I got this great thing, and everyone else is just like, nothing really happened, did it? And they're just drooling like, I got my wish. Well, there is a comic book series where uh super it this was animated, and it's based off of an actual comic book, which was I think it was called The Man Who Had Everything. And Superman, oh, in the Fortress of Solitude, by the other some of the other Justice League members. Batman, Robin was there, Wonder Woman was there, and it was his birthday. And he opens up a package, and a big flower comes out and wraps around his chest, and it puts him into a state of stasis. And in his mind, he goes through a phantasmagoria of what if Krypton survived, and he grows up with Jor-El, and Krypton doesn't become destroyed and whatnot. And the other characters are there trying to get the flower off of him, and this character named Mongol is there, who's the one that put the alien flower in the box in the first place. So, and then in the animated version, the flower actually gets pulled off, and then it wraps around Batman, and Batman finds out that his family survives. And it is kind of a funny scene where instead of his parents being killed in Crime Alley, his dad starts punching out Joe Chill, who's the one that killed his parents, and starts punching him, and little Bruce Wayne is like, yeah. And he's just like punching his dude over and over again, like. But yeah, it might be something like that, where maybe it's just in the minds of the person, and maybe that's enough. Maybe that's enough for someone to believe that their greatest wish came true, and they go on to greatness, or maybe not. You know. How about some hippy dippy stuff? Is wishing for world peace or to end world hunger even possible in a fantasy setting? Or to make all creatures lawful good? Can you wish to change the world? I don't know, right? Like, and that's the conundrum, right? Like, if someone were to make a wish so grand, yet so simple to change the world, like, the the most common thing, which is, I wish for world peace, $1 million in world peace, and it's like, well, you got a greater chance of getting one over the other, right? And if you know would world peace be possible in a fantasy setting where conflict and drama is always around the corner? Would the day of the wish end a campaign? Like, oh well, no more evil in the world. Everyone's decided to work together with each other. Or would the is this the day of the wish the end result of a thing? Like I said, if this happens once a year or once a cycle or whatever, however it's mentioned, measured in your setting, has this happened before? Was there an age of grand inventions and development and technological advancement that to rival the gods, but has went away, and someone else on the day of the wish created this, like Atlantis, the story of Atlantis, right? Yeah. Drew says end world hunger, Thanos style. Yeah. um yeah, end world hunger, all we do is feed on everybody else. Yeah, you'll never go hungry as long as there's somebody next to you. They sure taste good, like chocolate or pasta or baked Alaska or so. I don't know. Um, TA says, I would have an escalated timeline showing that the wish causes the end of the world due to the collapse. Oh, shoot. Due to the collapse of the balance keeping the universe running. Ooh, yeah. The end to world hunger could cause goblins, kobolds, and other creatures to overpopulate and overrun the rest of the world too. Why not? Why not? Right? Or the the people who the skills and the things needed to feed the population. Like, if people just never go hungry, that doesn't mean they don't need to eat. Maybe they're just never hungry, and no one realizes. Like, you go for 3 days, and the person's like, "Why do I feel dizzy? I mean, I don't really feel like I need to eat." And then they're like, you need to sit down and eat, and like, no, I'm good. And people start passing out from hunger and thirst because they don't feel it any longer, rather than them being forever healthy. It's just that, oh, no, everyone's just not hungry anymore. Yeah. Stray says, yes, lawful good jobber monster overpopulation apocalypse. That is the perfect curse for your good intentions. Yeah, maybe people live in a world that's close to the apocalypse and has been getting there over time, and no one realizes why. And then when the day of the wish, someone wishes for like the good and the best things, and the demon lord's like, your wish is my command. And like, yeah. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. He says, or ending world hunger could just cause every living thing to drop dead because hunger is technically part of life cycle. I.e., you are hungry and thus know you need to eat. Yep. Hey. Yeah. Every living thing just disappears, shunted off to another world. And the world's completely empty. Player character standing there like, what the hell happened? Oh no, they're not hungry anymore. We sent them to the farthest reaches of the multiverse, where they can all have their own micro plane of existence that gives them all the food and nutrients they want, but they'll never see another living person again. Another excellent literal interpretation of the wish so that it will ruin everything. Yep. Hell yeah. Yeah. Will wishing for alignment change not be like wishing for the control of another person's mind, thus turn horrible, like the concept of a love potion that goes horribly wrong? Maybe. Well, alignment isn't mind control. It just changes it's more of like a behavioral thing or a idealism, but sure. I mean, now we we if every let's say this wish affects every living person today, that doesn't say anything about people being born right the next day. So it could be there is an age of peace and tranquility, but the next generation comes up and looks around and takes advantage of all the goodly people because they're like, what the hell's going on? So it may not be a wish for, you know, perfect peace for eternity. It could be peace right now. Like the wish affects everything right now, but the future, yeah, every living thing born after the wish is chaotic evil or neutral evil. Yeah. Or everything ceases being able to feel hungry, thus they starve to death, like the ultimate hunger suppressant. Yep. Yeah, hell yeah. Yep. Yep. Oh, I've gotten rid of no person will ever go hungry again. And there are literally factions going around and blue robes telling people, please eat, you must eat this, and like, no, I can't, I'm full, it's been 5 days, no, that's okay. I can't eat another bite. What's the amazing image from uh, the movie Constantine? In the movie Constantine, a character is cursed by a demon, and he's a priest, but he's also like an alcoholic, and he runs into a local bodega and grabs a big bottle of alcohol and pulls the top off and is filled with fluid. He goes to try to drink it, and nothing comes out of it. And he keeps he smashes bottles and tries to drink the alcohol in it, because he needs to drink. He's like dehydrating almost. And every time he goes to take a drink, the fluid is in it. He goes to pour it, and nothing's coming out. But everybody else sees him just drinking and over and over again. Um, and it might be something like that. Like the people who are like, I don't, they're eating, they're trying to get ready to eat food, but they're not really eating the food. Like they're looking at it, but from the outside, everyone sees there's like food is everywhere and it's rotting and no one's eating any of it because there's so much food around them. Mm-mm-mm. So you wish to turn everybody lawful good, and that instantly makes you into a mind controlling supervillain. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think it depends on how literal you make it. Like, if people become lawful good, then the law portion of that alignment is just about tradition, following rules, having having society operate very logically, and then for the good of the population. Now, many of us gamers look at lawful good as like totalitarian. You don't have any freedom and things of that nature. But it might be quite peaceful. I don't know about it being mind control. If you turn people lawful good, I don't think you would control their minds, but but it could bring an age of peace. Although it could also possibly destabilize an empire that is trying to fight, that needs to have people who are on the fringes of morality to defend a country, because there's other people who could take who very have the ability to take advantage of people who are in that lawful good status, which it could destabilize that, because I don't know how wide ranging a wish can be. Like, does it have a limit of 100 miles or the entire the entire plane of existence? I don't know. TA says potentially, if everyone being in the same alignment now can't do anything about balance, and thus the bottom food source is wiped out, causing a cascade of starvation. Could be. Um, Now I could see people morally being locked into a mode of thinking, right? Like if you there could be so many rules in a lawful society that it's very difficult to break out of those rules to get something done. Even for the good of the population, it's like, hey, the people need to be fed. Well, let's talk about it. We've got rules for this. Um, you know, like overpopulating, and we eat everything in the ocean, leaving nothing, including plankton or algae, that feeds everything else higher up on the food chain. It could be for something, but what there's now. Listen, we're focusing on like world peace and starvation as giant wishes, but there's a lot of selfish people out there that want to wish just for themselves, or at least for their kind, right? Their faction, their family, if you're at the bottom of the totem pole and you wish yourself to be the greatest noble bloodline or something, or you wish you were you had you wished yourself into a deific level of power, or you wish your enemies were dead or something like that. I mean, there's a lot of there's some other things out there that people would wish for, just not knowing what limitations there are on a wish, and want to wish for that anyway. Like, the classic animated version of the movie Aladdin, where the the genie is like, you can't wish for someone dead, and you can't wish for mind control or things like that. Like, genie tells you the limitations, but he's like, other than that, you can wish for anything you want. The squad says, excellent idea to start a campaign. Some idiot wished to make everybody good. Everybody born the next day starts plundering from all the lawful good suckers, and you have to stop them. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, I wish everybody was good. And it's like, ring. And it's like, wow. No, sorry. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. No, you have a good day. No, you have a great day. No, you have one, right? And everyone's good. And the PCs are like, did we just cancel the campaign? And then all the new people start up. And it's like, yeah, they start taking advantage. the, pickpockets and murderers just start pretending and going around like, I'm so sorry. And the good people are like, you know what? I kind of believe you. I mean, I want to give you a chance, so we're not going to imprison you. We're we're going to pat you on the wrist. Oh, thank you, chumps. Yeah. TA says, I think the trick is any open-ended wish leads to unintended consequences. So there needs to be a chart for such consequences, as well as a repeating roll till one is encountered based on the timeline. Hell, the idea of granting a wish in the first place is its own timeline, and I kind of like it. Like, literally, the players could just be do 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 do. We're just walking around, and you tell them, oh, by the way, on the calendar, today begins the day of the wish. And the PCs are like, well, what does that mean? And even navigating that, like, what the hell does that mean? Especially if the population starts acting and behaving in strange ways, and they're traveling to a city, and the PCs go to the city, and then they realize, why is everyone wearing red cloaks or blue shawls? Why are people doing push-ups on the side of the road? Why is there a big cadre of individuals reading books and being tested and quizzing themselves? And like, in and of once they find this out, they might be thinking, well, what, maybe we want the wish, or we want to find the person who's the the front runner to get that wish, and who wants to grant this wish in the first place. And then maybe they realize, oh, that's why that mountain range on the western borders of the continent float in the air, and there's, I don't know, godlike people who live up there. Is that why that happened last year? I don't know. Yeah, closed end ones. The world can balance out the changes, and you can do interesting things with that, or just let it run its course. I like the idea of like the unintended consequences there, Mr. Anderson. Yeah, I love it. Drew says, I would say alignment is identity, not the mind. And well, I would say people will eventually fall back. Yeah, fall back into whatever alignment they had, since it is their identity after all. Right. That doesn't, maybe we're under the misconception that no matter the wish, it's permanent. Whereas the wish may just do a change, and then the rest of it is just regular society. Like, wishing everyone to be lawful good could be true, just like the people who were evil that turned good may then turn back to their old ways, right? Like we see this when a traumatic event happens to a person and they change their mindset, but then over time they fall back into old habits. um, I hate to make this analogy, but we see this with various types of obsessions and addictions and things like that, where something happens and a person changes and then they fall back into fall back into their old habits and such. And it may be that temporarily the evil creatures of the world turn good, and the human population start to embrace the monsters that are out there, and the monsters are like, yeah, we want to live with everyone. And the player characters are going, I don't I think this might be wrong, as all like the minotaurs and the displacer beasts start, become household pets, and all the monsters start coming into the big cities and stuff, and then over time they start going back to their old alignments and old habits. But some people hold on to this like lawful and good alignment, like no, 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 we can live like this, and it's like and slowly and surely people start disappearing and there's like fights and such. I like that. Yeah. TA says small wishes like I wish this dragon attacking us was not a problem. Uh boom, dragon falls over from an aneurysm or heart attack. No biggie. Boom, yeah. And I wonder if a person made a very small wish, like would they be stoned to death in the street and ripped asunder because they wasted it on something? Like what is the gift of the magi, right? Someone wishes a family's given three wishes and a person wishes they had a sausage, and the wife is like, I wish that sausage was on your nose, and then the guy's like, I wish the sausage wasn't on my nose, and then that's all the wishes. You get peace in our time, but that's it, just for the moment. Yep. Yep. And people, like you said, is identity, right? People fall back to their old habits. And how fast does that happen? I don't know. Like your average citizen might stay that way for maybe a year or so, but powerful monsters and entities, a couple of days maybe, and they go, boy, that really wasn't me. Like the wish might affect them, but they don't realize they've been affected by the wish, but they still go back to their old ways, even though they were, the demon lord that's lawful good, and is like, well, you see these contracts, I'm gonna rip them up, and then a few days later, they're like, why did I do that? Boy, that felt icky. Oh, yeah. But wishing all dragons gone might cause some food chain issue that led to, say, plagues of locusts and such. Yeah. Yeah, you wish the single dragon stopped attacking and it's dead. You wish all dragons went away and it's like, ooh, maybe they were, it could be that I've heard of the idea of dragons having a like they almost drain magic from the world and keep magic at a low keel, because the fact that they even exist means that they inadvertently through osmosis drain a lot of magic. Maybe slaying all the dragons, getting rid of them, causes magic to go wild, and any person that casts a spell, like their brains burn out as a flame shoots out of their eyes and their mouth and their ears or something. Yeah. And then you have to eat the bugs. Great resets, Co. Mm-mm-mm. An idea could be that the more of other people's wishes you grant, the more powerful of a wish you can make, or the more smaller caliber wishes you can make throughout the day too. I mean, it could be like a bottle of sorts. A single sip is a small wish. Pour the whole thing out. It's a wish that transforms the world. Or a wish on the day of the wish. the person granting the wish was the person from last year that had the wish. I'm saying this is as if it's our human calendar, but maybe the person who had it last time gets to get that wish, but they have to grant it to the next person, because if they don't, they've been suffering from the downfall of their terribly worded wish, and it's like, I gotta get rid of this thing. Please, somebody else gotta grant this wish to someone. Because we've never really, like, for example, does anybody really know why genies grant wishes in the first place? Like, where does that power come from, and why is it granted to other people? Why can't they use it themselves? I never really understood that, and I'm sure it's somehow in the mythology, but I've never had it explained to me why these powerful entities grant wishes to humanity, but they don't use the wishes on themselves, or why they can't, or where that power comes from. So wishing by itself does nothing, because you are pulling the trigger on an empty chambered gun. You've got to fill it with other people's wishes. Yeah. Yeah. Which might be the undoing, right? Like, the act of the act of getting a bunch of people together, the population from thousands of people, tens of thousands from across the land, all of them in their heads wishing for things, might be the fuel that gets the day of the wish started, so that at the end of it there really is a wish, but it only happens because everybody believes it. I don't know. That would, like, which came first, the wish or the wish? I don't know. You guys are silly. Yeah, won't let me play Doctor Evil, then I would become Doctor Evil. Yeah. Heck, who's to say that on the day of the wish? Here's a weird, strange thing. Maybe the day of the wish brings about the big bad evils that we see in the campaign, because they've been striving so hard for this day and failed, that they bring about their own. Uh, it's the Wizard of Oz, the end of the Wizard of Oz. Uh, um, maybe there's the day of the wish is the motivator to get people to go after the thing that they want, and they realize that they don't the day of the wish isn't really a wish at all, but they get what they want because they went after it. It's the great motivator, right? It's the journey, not the destination. Where someone, a rich powerful emperor says, if you are able to go through these challenges, blah 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 blah, I will give you everything you want. And then at the end of the challenges, there's 7 people, and those 7 people, the emperor goes, but look what you've done. You've achieved so much already. The 7 of you will become my new council, because you've already granted your own wish simply by your own actions, or something. I mean, that might be a bit hokey, but that could be a thing. And some people might turn evil in that, like, you effing bastard. Like, wait a minute. I ruined my relationship with my family. I injured myself. I spent all my money that I've been saving up. I traveled far away from my homeland, and I didn't want to. And this is what you tell me? Some damn moral anecdote? You bastard. I'm just looking at what you're saying here. Why can't we click on each other's names to see their channels? Just want to see who else makes videos. I don't know. Hmm. I don't know. Drew says, I usually look at dragons and the exact other way around, that the magic is emanating from them, and thus a world without dragons is also a world in which magic dies. Hell, yeah, that's a great idea too. Someone's like, I wish all the dragons were dead, and they start falling out of the sky, and mountains start shaking, and things like that, in their dead bodies. And suddenly all the magic dies, and in order to get the magic back, uh, you kind of have to scavenge it out of the dead carcasses of dragons everywhere. That would be pretty cool. Drew says, Jinn are servants of Allah. They have no agency on their own. I know it was something like that. Like I never knew why they granted wishes. So they're more as agents. If I have to make a comparison, they are unto angels, where angels don't have agency themselves. They aren't given the freedoms that humanity has. I guess it runs along that line where it's like they are uh, they are the living embodiment of a framework of the universe or something. I don't know. Um, TA says, I always saw the genie is a sort of slave to their power, and they're getting something out of it, like how people who own things end up being owned by the things they own. Ooh, ooh, yeah. Be careful what you wish for. Yeah, right. Yeah, and they're related to the elementals. They are very elemental, elementally based. Jin, Ifrit, Marids. I was about to say Madrids, Marids, Naiads, uh, so on and so forth. Uh, you know what? I'll look it up. Let's see. The let's see. I'm sure there's some images here. Yeah, Jin, genies from the elemental plane of air. Ifriti, uh, genies from the elemental plane of fire, which are said to be made of basalt, bronze, and congealed flames. Jani, the weakest of the genies, Jan, are formed out of all four elements and must spend time on the material plane. Let's see if we can get some imagery here, just to have something in the background. I like sharing images. Sorry, guys, but I do. Plus, it keeps my freaking face out of the group. Um, yeah, it's element. They are very elemental, or at least fantasy wise, in classic Dungeons and Dragons, very elemental. Let's see if there's. Here we go. There's a earth, air, fire, water, and I'm sure there are others, right? If people start thinking of them as close, they're like they are a cultural appropriation of elemental beings, uh, and so you could make them like plant and iron and steel and dream and shadow if you really wanted to. Mm-mm. So the wish forces you onto a quest to make your own wish come true. That could be the day of the wish, could be the thing that causes a person to go on a path to achieve their own thing, thereby making the day of the wish true, just not in the manner in which it was intended. Like maybe the day of the wish is a competition between the Celestines and the fiends, right? The goodly power and the evil power. And the evil power is like, yeah, the person who wants to kill and murder to get their wish belongs to us. And the goodly people are like, no, 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 no. You, I'll challenge you on that. I bet the people who try to achieve their wish achieve it because they are holding to their values, and by the end of the day they're going to be granted their wish simply by virtue of the fact that they brought it about through their own intentions. Like it wasn't anything from, there was no greater power. The greater power was yourself going after it. See, he says, hey, my last video was a stream for 30 minutes with no audio of my laser engraver engraving some wooden coins. You know what, there's a lot of dare I say um psychologically, like okay, there's videos of people who like clean carpets, mow grass, paint, um hell, wash dishes, things like that. That's pretty common that people like to have in the background. I don't know, there's something pleasant about the videos of people cutting grass. I don't know why, but it is a thing, right? Yeah. I actually had a hybrid game between D&D and my new sci-fi based game where the D&D world was being infected with a disease that destroyed magic, leaving only technology as the foundation of reality. Ah, a disease. Yeah. Yeah, I wish for infinite wishes. Wakes up stuck in a genie bottle with infinite wishes that they can grant to others. That's where genies come from. Yeah. I wish for infinite wishes. Great. You can only hand them out once a year. Forever. Mm-mm-mm. How do you know? How do you know I am smart and not just experienced at screwing up? You're silly. Oh man, you're so silly, Ta. Squad stuck in the bottle thing. Yeah, the stuck in the bottle thing is just brilliant. And as an Andrew Wood would do, no ending the game there. You have to play it out, stuck in the bottle forever. Stuck in somebody's backpack. Hey, let me out. I want to roll initiative too. Nope, you're staying right back there, right? Yeah, you got to play that shit out. All right, so let me look up the wish spell. Let's see. Let's see if we could find this out. We got roll 20. I wonder if it's in a user's guide to the most powerful D&D spell. Wish spell in Dungeons and Dragons player guides and tips. There's something strange here. Let's see if I could. The wish spell through the editions deep dive. Let's see if they find this. This is on Reddit, so I don't know. This might be going down a terrible rabbit hole. All right, so we got here. The wish spell is one of the original spells in D&D. Some people love the spell, some people hate the spell, and most of us spend our time figuring out how to get wording of our wish exactly right so the DM doesn't screw us over. Wish is probably the most discussed and argued over spell in D&D, since what you can and can't do is the subject of endless debate. No two DMs we have played with have allowed the wish spell to do the same thing. While the spell description gives some guidelines as to the specific things that can happen, the DM has probably more latitude with this spell than any other. I personally have 3 rules for wish. One sentence must start with the words I wish for and be said in 6 seconds. In return, I promise to not be a jerk and only manipulate a wish for the sake of the game and story. All right, there was no wish spell in the original D&D, and many people probably would have preferred it stayed that way. The first mention of the spell was presented in the Greyhawk Supplement number 1, released in 1976. The Wish was basically split into 2 parts, Limited Wish and Wish. I remember Limited Wish. Limited Wish was 7th level, a spell which alters reality, past, present, or future, but only within limited bounds. It cannot create or bring any form of treasure, for example, and only a portion of a wish might actually occur. And then 9th level magic user, the same spell as found in a Ring of Wishes. Using a wish spell, however, requires so great a conjuration that the user will be unable to do anything further magically for 2 to 8 days. The referenced wish information above is from the Ring of Three Witches, which states the following. As with any wishes, the wishes granted by the ring must be of limited power in order to maintain balance in the game. This requires the utmost discretion on the part of the referee. Typically, greedy characters will request more wishes, for example, as one of their wishes. The referee should then put that character into an endless, closed time loop, moving him back to the time he first obtained the wish ring. Again, a wish for some powerful item could be fulfilled without benefit to the one wishing. I wish for a mirror of life trapping, as an example, and the referee then places the character inside one, which is all his own. Wishes that unfortunate adventurers had never ha- wishes that unfortunate adventures had never happened should be granted. Clues can be given when wishes for powerful items or great treasure are made. Lots of information here, but at the same time, so much left is unsaid. Limited Wish is more of an altered time spell. Based on the description, you cannot expect to receive much of anything physical. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, in 2E, The wish is a more potent version of a limited wish. If it is used to alter reality with respect to damage sustained by a party, to bring a dead creature to life, or to escape from a difficult situation by lifting the spellcaster and his party from one place to another, it will not cause the wizard any disability. Other forms of wishes, however, cause the spellcaster to weaken, -3 on strength, and require 2d4 days of bed rest due to the stresses the wish is placed upon time, space, and his body. Regardless of what is wished for, the exact technology of the spell is likely to be carried out. Casting a wish ages the character 5 years. See, I remember this kind of stuff. I forgot about that, but I remembered that you couldn't cast a wish once per day or once per long rest or something like that. This discretionary power of the DM is necessary in order to maintain game balance. As wishing another creature dead would be grossly unfair, for example, your DM might well advance the caster to a future period in which the creature is no longer alive, effectively putting the wishing character out of the campaign. Oh, man. As far as the spell descriptions go, this is pretty quick and to the point. Wow, we do appreciate the last paragraph, letting the DM and players know that this spell is complete bonkers, and asking for anything that might affect the story or be a huge MacGuffin for the party may be adjusted to fit your wish casting, even if it isn't what you may specifically want. This latitude gives the DM a power over the spell that, quite frankly, is needed. Wish is a game breaker spell, and if the player chooses to fall back on rules as written, this simple paragraph lets the DM rein in a power a player's crazier desires. This caveat is included in some fashion for all future editions. Which I know you guys are saying things in the chat, but if you think about it, the fact that it mentions those caveats in the spell itself is the rule, right? Because a lot of people who want to say things rules as written fail to read the part that says that the DM has control over the thing that they want. So, and then this is 3.5. Talks about stuff. So yeah. It goes on and on and on. We'll go to something else. Let's see. Deck of many things. That was definitely a game breaker. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe on the day of the wish, you get to pull cards from the deck of many things. That'd be weird. Which is the worst game breaker, the wish spell or the deck of many things? I think the wish spell, because I remember the deck of many things. It could break a game, but it was like it wasn't by the. There were often things in it that both the DM and the players didn't know what would happen, right? So, and I think there was a little bit more fun with it. I think that, just in my opinion, I think the deck of many things was more fun because it's so random. Because you could get good things out of it too, but there were some pretty horrible things, and also a lot of those older deck of many things, Wand of Wonder. What were some other randomized things? There was a robe that had strange pockets on it. There was a bag that you could pull random things out of. There was a pouch of beans that you would throw down and it would make random things. And that really taught a lot of dungeon masters at that time how to improvise, because it would really throw a game out of I mean, how many times did people accidentally get shunted to other planes of existence and you're like, well, gotta come up with something new, right? Yeah. Yeah, for a start, the deck contains a void card that'll send you to a one-way trip to the astral plane. Yep. And there's a card that'll summon an arch demon or arc demon. Yeah, he had 9 lines that turned out to be a gateway when thrown on the ground, opened a portal to the first of the 9 planes of hell with lots of other oddities I can't remember. Yeah. I just remember the balls of bouncing showed up at the time. What? You guys are silly. Anyway, we've come to the end here on the Day of Wishes. I think it's kind of cool. I do think it's kind of cool to have like this idea that we have the ability to on the day of series, and specifically the day of the wish, to draw upon our creativity and decide, like, what does this really mean? Is this just a favor from a powerful noble? Is there a very powerful entity, genie style, that exists in your world that really grants a wish? Is this really a wish in the first place? And on the day of the wish, what what criteria happens to separate the player characters from your average NPC mortals with 2 hit points? Like, is this a moral um a judgment on morality? Is this a desire to help the weakest members, or is this a chaotic or demonic type of evil force that's out to corrupt people who want to go after it? Or is this just a way to test the willpower of the individuals who want the wish in the first place, who then at the very end of it realize they're granted the very desire that they wanted before they got there. Which is why I brought up the Wizard of Oz. In the Wizard of Oz, the wizard, spoiler alert, isn't a real wizard, but all the people that go on the adventure to go find the wizard to get what they want realize they already had it in the first place, already had courage, already had a heart, right? So this may be a thing. You guys talking about the bouncing flubber. My favorite was the rod of immovability. I should do a video about that. Anyway, lastly, on the day of the wish, maybe this is the reason why you have all these strange, bizarre, arcane elements in your world, because they were caused by someone, or the player characters realize that themselves or somebody else makes a wish for a thing that in the past may have already happened, or something similar of nature had happened, and that's why the world has been transformed and such. So if any of you out there, please like, share, subscribe, but more importantly, if you have prompts for further episodes, and or you have an idea for the day of the wish, please put it down here. Use this as mind fuel for the day of series. So anyway, guys, have a great one. I will see you later, and please, please, please don't get stuck in the flubber. Have a great one. I'll see you later. Peace.